This chapter will cover the basic concept related to electric flux. How can we measure the electric flux using Gauss's law? Previous chapter we have studied Coulomb's law and used the Coulomb's law to find the electric field due to different distribution of charges, like due to point charge, due to dipole, due to line charge density, surface charge density, and then solve different problems related to these topics. And now, in order to make it easy, and when we face some more comprehensive problems and practical problems, so then we need more understanding of the electric field. So, first of all, uh, Gauss, Gauss German scientist, introduced this law. So now onward, we prefer to use the Gauss's law to measure the electric field or to find the charges. So imaginary surface, this surface was considered to find the electric field due to certain distribution of charges, due to number of charges. So flux, first of all, you must understand what is flux. Basically, in general meaning, flux of volume, flux means to flow something, the rate to flow through any area, not only certain for electric fields, rather than we can define it for some other quantities. Like we may say flow of a certain liquid uh, through certain area, flow of vehicles through any signal, any road through certain area, and then can apply this concept of flux to air volume to determine how much air volume is flowing through certain area. So, in general meaning, we can apply the concept of flux on so many areas, and we can even calculate it mathematically because this is basically a scalar quantity related to scalar. So, it must be understand completely before going into details of the Gauss's law and other applications of Gauss's law. So how can we determine how much flux is flowing through a certain area? So this this statement, from this statement, certain area is very important in this situation. What is meant by certain area and why it is important uh, to us? Because according to this figure, was this figure, and we consider this area a triangle or rectangular shaped area, and airflow is flowing from left to right, arrows showing the direction of the airflow. If you change the orientation of this area facing the airflow and rotate it by angle of 90, then how much line of this air volume airflow will pass through this area? Certainly not. No line will pass through it. Means we were not able to measure this line. We have to standard. We have to keep the orientation in mind of standard area. So we have to place it according in such a way that we can measure the uh, strength of the air volume, air number of air these lines. Instead, replace the airflow instead of consider that these lines are of electric line. These lines are of electric field. And what will you do? Same with this principle. The area facing this field, any area. If you suppose this is the volume of this is a pipe, and in which water is flowing. If you just rotate this orientation, then there is no volume of the sort of water will flow through it. Hence, orientation is very important in this situation. And then second quantity, which is important, is its volume. Right? Without, if there is no area involved in this case, then we are not able to measure the flux. We will say that there is zero flux to that area. So orientation is very important. Angle is very important between the vector area and the direction of the flow. So what is meant by vector area? How we determine the direction, point magnitude and direction of the vector area? Vector area simply means the vector perpendicular to the face of an area coming out of the uh, face of the any shape, and whose magnitude is equal to the area of that shape. This is a rectangle we are considering through which we are measuring the flux. So its direction will be exactly outward, and its magnitude will be the equal to the area of this rectangle. If you are considering the circular shape, then it will be equal to pi r square, whatever will be the radius. So it's a scalar quantity, measure of the number of lines, basically. So this concept will be applied on the, yes, this is, look at this statement. The Latin words come from to flow. That meaning makes sense if you talk about the flow of air volume through the loop, flow of water, flow of any fluid. We will define now, apply this concept, flux of electric field. We replace this V with electric field E vector. So it will provide you with electric flux. From this diagram. This then will integrate. First, we consider the very small areas, uniform small areas through which electric field is uniform. Then apply this concept over whole surface. You may have divided the surface into 1,000 pieces, maybe into 500 pieces, maybe areas into 5,000 areas, and then we add up of all flux of all the surfaces. This is known as the integration. The electric flux with the surface is proportional to the net number of electric field lines. This is one definition of the electric flux. Anyhow, this concept is more clear. Will be more clear when we apply this concept over this problem. The cylinder placed in electric field. There are two faces, cylindrical top, bottom surfaces, exactly perpendicular to the direction of the electric field. One is parallel, one is anti-parallel. But the other wall surface of the cylinder have the 90 angle between plus electric field line, and no electric field line will pass through this surface. So the flux through these surfaces will be zero. But on the other hand, we can measure the electric flux through the other surfaces. Our net flux may be zero. Similarly, this is very important problem you have to apply on the Gauss's law on this on this cubical shape that body based on this orientation. We have two centimeter sides each, and we have to measure the flux through top surface, left, right, bottom, and front and back surfaces to all the surfaces. So this is solved as example, but very important to help you to understand this concept. Then Gauss's law basically used for the not only for measurement of the electric field, but this electric field strength is directly related to the number of charges. How much charge is present in certain area. will tell you how much it will have the flux. Or if you talk about conversely, how much?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes.
सर रोल नंबर 9 को लैटिन करें सर.
What is roll number 9?
शफीक हुसैन.
ओके, मैं वेट कर रहा हूँ. उसका भी मेरे पास इसे रिक्वेस्ट नहीं आई थी. क्या आप में से कौन है जो चले 10 मिनट रह गए? ओके, आई एम वेटिंग उसके रिक्वेस्ट का. So anyhow, this is Gauss's law. Now it's all about the statement. If there is some charge, then there is a flux. Right? If you have this flux value, then it will tell you how much charge is enclosed by that surface. There is some other problem if we are applying the Gauss's law. So what is the relation between Gauss's law and Coulomb's law? In this topic, Coulomb's law is derived using the Gauss's law. So it will exactly it will provide you the same magnitude of electric field using Gauss's law as we are using the Coulomb's law. A charge isolated conductor, this we need not to right now to apply on this concept. I will tell you the details of this later. But here we are now applying the Gauss's law on different situations. So one of the example here is cylindrical symmetry. Means you are given charges like in the shape of this straight line in one direction. So what will be the electric field at some point away from this wire with this distribution of charges? So remember, in all these situations, like this one, we're considering the non-conducting surfaces until it is specified. Because non-conducting surface means if a charge is present over some certain surface, wooden surface, suppose it is a plastic surface, both are non-conducting. So when you will place some charge over such surfaces, it must not conduct. It must not move to some other surface, other place on the same surface. It must not move on the other side of the surface. So that is why it is important to mention the nature of the surface, conducting or non-conducting. So here in this situation, this is not although this cylindrical plastic rod considered. Means plastic obviously is a insulating non-conducting surface. So that is why the charges on the will provide to any process will remain over the surface stationary. Static charges will remain there. So how to determine the electric flux? First of all, we will apply the concept of electric flux. So this will be the basic equation. Here, the purpose of this considering the cylindrical surface is this because it will have the symmetry over all sides. On the if we measure the electric field on any one point of the cylinder ball of the cylinder, so it means it will have the same magnitude of electric field on any other side of this ball of the cylinder. And top and bottom surface of the cylinder will have the zero flux. So, and what is meant by symmetry? And why it is cylindrical, applying this concept of cylindrical symmetry? Symmetry means whenever you will want to rotate this cylinder about its axis, it will not change its geometry. It will remain the same concept. So this is the basically symmetry which we are applying over that cylindrical surface. And once again, in instead of talking about the individual charges, we will use the word of charge density, because now charge is considered to be uniform, and if 1 millimeter of this, suppose 1 millimeter of this plastic rod carrying 1 coulomb of charge, then 10 millimeter of this plastic rod will carry 10 times more charge. So this, it's accordingly density will remain throughout the length. It will remain same. That is why instead of talking about individual charges now, we will, when we apply it over a whole cylindrical surface, we will apply on the line charge density, lambda h lambda, and then multiply with h. Height h is the height of the cylinder. So this is how electric field is measured due to some line charge density. This is the application of an electric field when someone passes through living body, human bodies or any other body passes through some electric field, then what happened and what happened to its hair and what happened in case of lightning. And so it required some details in order to understand. So like what happened in case of lightning. So you must read it through thoroughly. Although this is, it may help you to understand this next problem. So this is applying the planar symmetry. If charges are in the form of some plane, then you will apply in different shapes. So two different ways. Now, first we'll consider it as non-conducting sheet, then as a conducting plate. Non-conducting sheet means there is a plastic or some other non-conducting material, and over which some charges are present through any process. This will not conduct on the other side of it. Suppose the thickness of this plate is 1 centimeter, and charges present on the one side of the plate will remain on that side. They will not conduct through the surface and not conduct through the other surface. It will remain uniformly distributed over that surface. And what will be the electric field due to this on this side? So this concept basically important for the application of in this tester. What happened because when we place some dielectric material between the plates of the tester, the dielectric is a insulating material and plates of the tester are always conducting. So this situation is applicable basically. This first of all, this would be the for this concept is maybe for dielectric surface, and this one will be applicable on plates of the tester. So this is when we consider some cylinder passing through the surface, like this situation in figure. This is more clear figure. So flux will be on the both sides. The walls of the cylinder will have zero flux, obviously, and other surfaces will have the flux. But surface charge density sigma A charge is total charge enclosed by that surface. We will put here in this equation. This is basically this will be the electric field due to the infinite sheet of charge. And if you see, it does not depend upon the distance and does not depend upon the other material. Rather, it depends upon the charge density, how much charge is carried by this charge surface, and then the medium present between the point P and some the charge surface. What will happen in case of conducting plates? So because time is running out for this meeting, so I will resume this concept from after a couple of minutes. So please keep waiting. Join me for the meeting.